The camera sweeps across a brightly lit studio, the audience buzzing with anticipation as a familiar theme music fades. The host leans forward with a confident smile, hands gently clasped on the table. Welcome back to Fame After Hours, the place where real conversations meet real emotions. Today's episode is one you do not want to miss. We're diving into a heated moment that's been making waves across television and social media alike. Sitting with us today, we have a powerhouse panel, and joining the conversation is none other than Academy Award-winning actor Leonardo DiCaprio. Across from him, never one to hold back her opinions, is longtime talk show veteran Joy Behar. And yes, things got intense. She pauses, letting the audience lean in. What happens when Hollywood icon clashes with one of daytime TV's most outspoken voices live on air? She smiles slightly, then adds with energy, make sure to subscribe to Fame After Hours and like and comment for more talk show coverage. The audience claps, some already murmuring with excitement. The host turns slightly toward Leonardo, who sits composed but alert, his posture straight, his expression calm but watchful. So, Leonardo, first of all, thank you for being here. Leonardo nods politely. Thanks for having me. Joy shifts in her chair, already leaning forward slightly, her expression sharp but curious. The host continues, we're here to talk about your latest environmental advocacy work, but also some of the criticism that's come along with it. Joy lets out a soft chuckle, shaking her head. Some? That's one way to put it. The audience reacts with a mix of laughter and tension. The host raises a hand gently. All right, let's ease into it. Leo, you've been very vocal about climate change, private jets, sustainability. Joy interrupts quickly. While flying private jets. A ripple of, oh, moves through the audience. Leonardo exhales slowly, nodding once. I knew that was coming. The host tries to maintain balance. Joy, let him. Joy cuts in again, not aggressively but firmly. No, I just want to understand. Because viewers at home are asking the same thing. How do you preach sustainability while living, let's say, a very unsustainable lifestyle? The audience murmurs louder now. Leonardo leans forward slightly, his tone calm but more focused. I think that's a fair question, but it's also an oversimplification. Joy raises an eyebrow. Is it? Yes, Leonardo replies, maintaining eye contact. Because advocacy isn't about perfection, it's about impact. The host nods, trying to guide. That's an important distinction. Joy shakes her head. But people see hypocrisy, Leo. That's the problem. Leonardo's jaw tightens just slightly. People see headlines, Joy. They don't see the full picture. The audience claps lightly at that, sensing the tension rising. Joy leans back for a moment, then forward again, pressing. Okay, then give us the full picture. Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like Hollywood telling regular people to change their lives while not changing their own. The host interjects, Joy. No, let him answer. Joy insists, gesturing toward Leonardo. Leonardo nods slowly. I've invested millions into environmental initiatives, renewable energy, conservation programs. Joy interrupts again, sharper this time. That doesn't cancel out the carbon footprint. A louder reaction from the audience. Some clapping, some murmuring. Leonardo pauses. For the first time, there's a flicker of visible frustration. It's not about canceling out, he says, his voice firmer now. It's about using influence to drive change at scale. Joy tilts her head. But shouldn't that start with personal accountability? The host quickly steps in. Okay, this is getting good. But let's not talk over each other. The audience laughs nervously. Leonardo looks directly at Joy now. I agree with personal accountability. But I also think it's easy to target individuals instead of addressing systemic issues. Joy fires back almost immediately. That sounds like deflection. A louder whoa from the audience. The host raises both hands slightly. All right, let's slow it down. But the energy has shifted now. It's no longer just a discussion. It's a confrontation. Leonardo leans back slightly, then forward again, choosing his words carefully. It's not deflection. It's reality. One person's lifestyle doesn't compare to corporate emissions, industrial practices. Joy cuts in again. But you're not just one person, Leo. You're Leonardo DiCaprio. People listen to you. A beat of silence. The audience goes quiet. Leonardo nods slowly. Exactly, which is why I speak up. Joy doesn't back down. Then lead by example. The tension hangs thick in the air. The host looks between them, sensing the moment. And that's really the heart of the debate, isn't it? Influence versus accountability. Leonardo turns slightly toward the host, but his eyes flick back to Joy. I do lead by example in ways that matter. Joy leans in, her tone now more pointed. But are those ways visible enough for the public to trust you? A pause. Leonardo's expression changes. More serious now, less guarded. I'm not here to win a popularity contest, he says. I'm here to make a difference. The audience responds with a mix of applause and murmurs. Joy gives a small, almost skeptical smile. And yet, here you are on a talk show. A few laughs ripple through the crowd. Leonardo smiles slightly, but there's tension behind it. Because conversations like this matter. Joy nods slowly. They do, but so does credibility. The host quickly jumps in again. Okay, this is clearly a passionate topic for both of you. She turns to Leonardo. Let me ask you this. Do you think public figures are held to a higher standard when it comes to issues like this? Leonardo answers without hesitation. Yes, and they should be. Joy raises her eyebrows. Then you agree with me. Leonardo shakes his head slightly. No, I agree with the principle. Not necessarily your conclusion. The audience reacts again, this time louder. Joy leans back, crossing her arms briefly before leaning forward again. So what's my conclusion then? Leonardo meets her gaze directly. That advocacy without perfection is invalid. Joy immediately responds. No, advocacy without consistency is questionable. The audience claps louder now. The host exhales softly, half smiling. And there it is. The camera zooms slightly, capturing the intensity between them. Leonardo nods once, slowly, then question it, but don't dismiss it. Joy doesn't respond immediately this time. She studies him for a moment. The audience quiets, sensing a shift. The host leans in slightly. We're going to take a quick pause here, but when we come back, we'll dig even deeper into this conversation. And trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. The camera fades slightly as the audience buzzes again, the tension still hanging in the air. The camera cuts tighter, zooming in just enough to capture every flicker of emotion on Leonardo DiCaprio's face. The studio feels smaller now, like the walls themselves are leaning in to hear what comes next. Even the audience, moments ago divided and vocal, has gone completely still. You can hear a breath, someone shifting in their seat, but otherwise silence. Across from him, Joy Behar doesn't move. Her eyes stay locked on his, unblinking, unwavering. It's not aggressive anymore, it's precise, focused. She asked a yes or no question, and she's waiting for exactly that. The host leans slightly forward, her voice softer now, careful not to break the moment. This is probably the most important question of the night. Leonardo inhales slowly, his jaw tightening for just a second before he speaks. Yes, he says. The word lands heavier than anything said so far. A wave ripples through the audience. Gasps, a few surprised murmurs, even a couple of scattered claps that quickly fade as people process what they just heard. Joy blinks, just once. It's subtle, but it's there. She didn't expect that answer. Leonardo continues, his tone steady but more grounded now. Yes, there are parts of my lifestyle that don't fully align with the message I advocate for. The honesty shifts the energy in the room. It doesn't erase the tension, but it transforms it. The host nods slowly. Okay, that's a big admission. Joy leans back slightly, folded her arms again. But this time there's less edge in her posture. All right, I respect that. Leonardo nods once, acknowledging her. But that's not the whole story. The tension creeps back in, quieter, more controlled. He leans forward again, his hands clasped together on the table. Because if we stop the conversation there, it becomes about personal perfection instead of collective progress. Joy tilts her head slightly, or it becomes about credibility. Leonardo doesn't hesitate this time. Credibility doesn't come from being flawless. It comes from being committed. A few audience members nod. Someone claps softly. Joy responds, her tone measured. But people need to believe that commitment. And when they see contradictions, it makes that harder. Leonardo exhales, not frustrated, but focused. I get that. I really do. But if we set the bar at absolute consistency, then we're setting it at something almost no one can reach. The host jumps in gently. So what you're saying is imperfection shouldn't disqualify someone from advocating for change? Leonardo nods. Exactly. Joy leans forward again, her expression thoughtful now rather than confrontational, but it should invite scrutiny. Leonardo pauses, then nods again. Fair. That word lands differently. Not defensive, not reactive, just accepted. The audience feels it too. The tension loosens just a little more. The host smiles slightly. This is a very different tone than where we started. A few chuckles ripple through the crowd. Joy glances briefly toward the audience, then back at Leonardo. Look, I'm not saying you shouldn't do the work. You absolutely should. But when people see private jets and luxury lifestyles, it creates a disconnect. Leonardo listens carefully this time, not interrupting. And that disconnect, Joy continues, makes people question whether the message is genuine or just convenient. Leonardo nods slowly, absorbing it. I understand that perception, he says. And maybe we haven't done a good enough job bridging that gap. That line hits. The audience reacts again, this time with more unified applause. The host raises her eyebrows. That's another big moment. Joy's expression softens just slightly. See, that's what people want to hear. Not perfection, just awareness. Leonardo gives a small, almost self-aware smile. Awareness I can do. A light laugh spreads through the room, breaking some of the remaining tension. But then Leonardo adds, more seriously, however, I also think there's a danger in focusing too much on individual flaws. Joy raises an eyebrow again. Here we go. The audience chuckles lightly. Leonardo continues, unfazed. Because while we're debating whether one person is doing everything perfectly, we're not talking enough about the systems that actually need to change. That shifts the conversation again, this time outward. The host nods. So you're saying the focus should be bigger than any one individual? Exactly, Leonardo replies. Hold people accountable. Yes, but don't lose sight of the larger issue. Joy considers that for a moment. That's fair, she admits. There's a noticeable shift now. Not agreement, but understanding. The host looks between them, clearly sensing it. This feels like the first time tonight where you're not just debating, you're actually meeting in the middle. The audience applauds. Joy gives a small shrug. Don't get used to it. Laughter breaks out again. Leonardo smiles slightly, the tension finally easing from his expression. I'll take what I can get. But then Joy leans in one more time, not aggressively, but with purpose. But just so we're clear, she says, this doesn't mean people are going to stop questioning you. Leonardo nods immediately. They shouldn't. That answer surprises her again. They shouldn't, she repeats. No, he says firmly, because questioning keeps people accountable. It keeps conversations alive. Joy studies him for a moment, then gives a slow nod. Okay, I can respect that. The host exhales dramatically, placing a hand over her chest. Wow, we made it. The audience laughs and claps, the tension finally breaking into something lighter, something more human. But seriously, the host continues. This is what real dialogue looks like. It's messy, it's uncomfortable, but it's necessary. Leonardo nods. Agreed. Joy adds, as long as people are willing to actually listen. Another round of applause. The camera begins to pull back slightly, widening the frame to include the audience again. Faces that now look more thoughtful than tense. The host smiles warmly. When we come back, we're going to take a few questions from the audience, because I have a feeling they've got a lot to say. A few cheers rise up. But for now, she adds, glancing between her guests, Thank you both for keeping it real. Leonardo nods. Joy gives a small, knowing smile. The camera lingers for just a second longer, on a moment that started with confrontation, but ended with something far more powerful: understanding. Then the screen fades to black. The camera pushes in tighter, the tension from that unanswered question still hanging thick in the air. You can hear a pin drop. Even the audience, who had been reacting loudly just moments ago, is now completely silent. All eyes are on Leonardo DiCaprio. He doesn't rush. He doesn't look away. He just sits there for a second longer than expected, his expression calm but intense, like he's choosing every word carefully. Finally, he speaks. Yes. A collective gasp ripples through the audience. Joy blinks, clearly surprised. Even the host leans back, slightly caught off guard. Leonardo continues before anyone can jump in. Yes, there are parts of my lifestyle that don't perfectly align with my message. The audience is quiet, listening now, not reacting. Joy leans back slowly, folding her arms again, but her expression has shifted. There's no smirk this time. Just focus. Leonardo goes on, his voice steady but more personal now. But I think what's being ignored is that I'm actively working to change that, not just for myself, but on a larger scale. Joy tilts her head slightly. So why not lead with that? Leonardo's jaw tightens just a little. I do. It just doesn't always make headlines. The host leans in, sensing the shift in tone. Okay, this feels like an important moment. She looks toward the audience, because this is the kind of honesty people say they want. A few claps start, then grow louder. Joy nods slowly. It is. I'll give you that. Leonardo acknowledges it with a small nod, but he doesn't relax. But honesty goes both ways, he adds. Joy raises an eyebrow. What do you mean? Leonardo leans forward slightly, his tone sharpening again, but this time it's more controlled, more deliberate. I mean that it's easy to sit here and point out contradictions, he says. It's harder to acknowledge effort. A few audience members clap again. Joy responds quickly. Effort doesn't make you immune to criticism. Leonardo doesn't miss a beat. I'm not asking for immunity. I'm asking for fairness. The host raises her hand. Okay, this is where it gets tricky. She turns to Joy. Do you think he's being treated unfairly? Joy pauses this time. Not long, but long enough for the audience to notice. No, she says finally. I think he's being treated accurately. A louder reaction, some applause, some groans. Leonardo lets out a quiet breath, then shakes his head slightly. That's exactly what I mean. Joy leans in again. No, that's exactly what I mean. People see what you show them. Leonardo responds, his voice now firmer than it's been the entire conversation. And what I show them is that I care enough to act. Joy immediately counters, and what they see is that you're not willing to fully commit. The audience reacts sharply. This one hits harder. The host leans forward quickly. All right, hold on. But Leonardo speaks over her this time. That's not true. The room goes still again. There's a different energy now. Not just tension, something more personal. Leonardo looks directly at Joy, his voice lower, more intense. You don't get to decide the level of my commitment based on a few headlines. A strong reaction from the audience. This time, louder applause. Joy doesn't back down, but she does slow her tone. I'm not deciding anything, she says. I'm reflecting what people are saying. Leonardo shakes his head. No, you're reinforcing it. The host steps in more assertive now. Okay, this is getting very direct. She looks at Leonardo. Let me ask you this. Do you feel like you're being misunderstood? Leonardo answers immediately. Yes. The audience murmurs again. The host turns to Joy. And do you feel like you're representing the audience? Joy nods. Absolutely. The host exhales softly. And there's a disconnect. A brief pause. Then Leonardo speaks again, this time more measured. I think there's a difference between questioning someone and discrediting them. Joy responds calmly, but firmly. And I think there's a difference between accountability and attack. The audience reacts with a mix of MMM and claps. For a moment, both of them just look at each other. No interruption. No talking over. Just eye contact. The host senses it and lowers her voice slightly. This is what real conversation looks like. But just as it seems like things might level out, Joy leans forward again, her tone shifting back to pointed. Let me ask you something else, Leo. He nods slightly. Go ahead. She doesn't hesitate. You think celebrities like you sometimes use causes to protect your image? The audience gasps loudly. The host's eyes widen. Okay, wow. Leonardo doesn't react immediately this time. He just stares at Joy, clearly taken aback. Not by anger, but by the weight of question. No, he says finally. Joy presses. Not even a little? Leonardo shakes his head, more firmly now. No. Joy leans in further. So you're saying every decision you make is purely about the cause? Leonardo's expression tightens. I'm saying my intentions are genuine. Joy responds quickly. Intentions don't always translate. Leonardo counters. That doesn't make them false. The audience reacts again, split right down the middle. The host tries to ease attention. Okay, let's bring this down just a notch. But Leonardo continues, his voice rising slightly for the first time. You're questioning my integrity now. Joy meets his gaze. I'm asking a question. Leonardo responds sharply. There's a difference. The audience reacts with a loud, oh. The host leans forward urgently. All right, both of you. But now Joy speaks over her. No, because viewers are thinking it. I'm just saying out loud. Leonardo shakes his head, his tone now clearly frustrated. And that's exactly the problem. You're turning speculation into fact. Joy fires back. No, I'm turning silence into conversation. The audience erupts. This is the most explosive moment yet. Some people stand clapping. Others shake their heads. The host looks almost overwhelmed now, but still trying to hold control. Okay, we need to breathe for a second. But Leonardo isn't done. No, he says firmly, because this matters. The room quiets again. He leans forward, his voice steady but intense. I've spent decades working on issues that most people ignore. I've used my platform to bring attention to things that actually affect the future of this planet. Joy listens, but her expression remains firm. Leonardo continues, and instead of focusing on that, we're stuck debating whether I'm perfect enough to speak. A wave of applause fills the studio. Joy finally responds, her tone quieter now, but still unwavering. Or maybe we're asking whether you're honest enough. A pause. The tension shifts again, less explosive, more heavy. The host speaks softly now. This feels bigger than just the two of you. No one disagrees. Leonardo leans back slightly, running a hand briefly over his face before looking forward again. I'm not perfect, he says again, but I'm trying. The studio remains tense as the camera lingers on Leonardo DiCaprio and Joy Behar. You can feel the weight of that last statement. Joy's words hanging in the air like a challenge. The audience is completely silent, waiting to see how Leonardo will respond. He leans forward, taking a slow breath. His voice is measured, steady, but carries a new firmness. Joy, I'm not holding anything back. I'm being as honest as I know how to be. The work I'm doing, the causes I'm supporting, the decisions I'm making, they're real and they're tangible. If people want perfection, they'll never see it. But if they want action, I hope they see in what I do. The audience reacts immediately. Some cheering, some murmuring in awe. A few people stand up, applauding the calm conviction in his voice. Joy leans back in her chair, her expression softening slightly, but she's not done yet. I hear you, Leo, she says quieter now. But words without consistent transparency only get you so far. That's all I'm saying. If you're asking people to trust you, then give them everything to trust. Leonardo nods slowly, almost in agreement, and the tension begins to ebb slightly, replaced by a contemplative energy. The host leans in, trying to capture the final moments for the audience. This has been incredible, she says, her voice sincere. What we've just witnessed is the heart of accountability, credibility, and advocacy. Two very strong voices confronting tough truths, not holding back, but also try to understand each other. This is exactly why conversations like this matter. The audience bursts into applause, some standing, some whistling, but all electrified by the intensity they witnessed. Social media lights up immediately. Twitter and Instagram feeds explode with clips from the show. Hashtags like hashtag DiCaprio versus Behar and hashtag Fame After Hours trends start trending. People are debating, some siding with Leonardo, praising his honesty and the tangible work he's doing. Others side with Joy, highlighting the importance of transparency and accountability for public figures. The online reaction mirrors a live audience, passionate, divided, and fully engaged. Back in the studio, the host smiles at the camera. The conversation isn't over, and that's the point. Real dialogue, tough questions, and no sugarcoating. The aftermath of this show is going to be fascinating. Social media is already buzzing, and I expect this discussion to continue well past the day. But remember, it's not about picking sides. It's about understanding perspectives, challenging assumptions, and having the courage to speak your truth. Leonardo and Joy share a brief glance, a silent acknowledgement of the tension, the challenge, and ultimately, the conversation they just had. The host leans forward one final time. So here's what we want from you, our viewers. Share your opinion in the comments. Tell us who you agree with, what you think about public accountability, and whether you believe influence and integrity can coexist. And of course, make sure to subscribe to Fame After Hours for more real talk show stories, raw conversations, and the moments you won't see anywhere else. The audience erupts one last time as the camera pulls back, capturing the studio in its full, buzzing energy. The chatter continues. Cameras pan the cheering crowd, and the show fades out with a sense that this is a conversation that won't be forgotten anytime soon. The social media storm continues hours after the episode ends. Clips of Leonardo calmly defending his advocacy, contrasted with Joy's pointed, relentless questioning, are being shared across TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Memes, reaction videos, and opinion threads start multiplying. Fans of Leonardo praise his composure and dedication, while supporters of Joy emphasize the importance of public accountability and transparent activism. The debate spreads beyond the show, trending across platforms, even sparking news coverage highlighting the most intense live TV confrontation of the week. Later, behind the scenes, the production team shares that both guests stayed afterward for a private discussion to debrief. Sources reveal that while tensions were high on air, both Leonardo and Joy reportedly gained mutual respect for each other's perspective, though neither admitted publicly to compromising their stance. The studio remains buzzing for days with audience discussions, online debates, and repeated views of the explosive moment. The host wraps up the story with a knowing smile, turning once more to the camera. And that's the power of live conversation. Conflict, honesty, emotion, and insight all captured in real time. What did you think? Who had the stronger point? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget, subscribe to Fame After Hours for more unfiltered talk show moments that spark conversation, debate, and maybe even a little controversy. Until next time, keep talking, keep questioning, and keep watching. The camera fades out slowly as the audience continues to applaud, leaving viewers with a lingering sense that they just witnessed something unforgettable, a raw, real, and intense talk show moment that will be discussed long after credits roll.